One of the more controversial subjects in the Fallout series is the use of extraterrestrials. Sometimes, the use is rather overt and in your face. Other times, it's played merely in the background as a suggestion or a one-off. Let's talk about aliens in the Fallout series. So, in real life, there's a number of alleged extraterrestrial beings. Of them, 4 are probably the most common to use in various fictional works. The Little Green Men, the Greys, the Reptilians, and the Insectoids. It should be noted that the Greys have largely replaced the Little Green Men for more serious narratives. The Little Green Men typically take a goblin-like appearance, being, of course, green, very short, and have large, pointy ears. The Greys typically lack ears, usually have large eyes that are often a solid color, mostly black. And while they're usually short as well, they're taller than your average Little Green Man. There are some cases where Greys will be much taller though, sometimes taller than an average human. And yes, Greys are largely, well, gray, but they could be other colors, usually a muted blue or green. As for Fallout, the Zetans are kind of a mixture of the Little Green Men and Greys, perhaps slightly teetering towards the Little Green Men. They feature the large eyes and the average height of your typical Grey. In Fallout 4, the Zetans have elongated ears, much like the Little Green Men, while the Fallout 3 version of the Zetans do not have any ears, but rather holes. In addition, there's also the Abominations of Fallout 3, which are Zetan-human hybrids. These take on the appearance of something of a tall Grey, but with more muscle and a beer belly. Zetans are really the only confirmed alien species to exist in the series. The Wanamingos in Fallout 2, despite having the name aliens in some part of the map, are actually just mutants from Fallout 2's Great Wanamingo Mine, located in Redding. While it's true that the Wanamingo head takes some very obvious inspiration from a rather popular alien species from a series of films, they're not actually aliens, just mutants. It's the same situation with Fallout 1 and how you can find zombie guards around Necropolis, when in truth they're actually just ghouls. Finally, I've seen some speculation, and I do want to note again, this is speculation, that the tunnelers on Fallout New Vegas' Lonesome Road DLC might possibly be a species of alien. Personally, I'm not sure if I buy it, but I can see where people might be getting the idea. The large eyes and goblin ears do feel a little Zetan in nature, but also a bit reptilian too. I mean, they certainly appear to have scales. Personally, I'm more believing what Ulysses speculates, that they're just mutants.
Makes sense.
But I may come back to this theory in a later video. So aliens have always had some presence in Fallout. The biggest earliest example is a special encounter where you find a downed UFO and some skeletons of aliens, and the Alien Blaster. Now this is largely accepted to be non-canon. I've seen debates about whether or not special encounters should be considered canon. I generally believe it shouldn't, otherwise Doctor Who and Star Trek are also canon to Fallout. But it really doesn't stop at this or any other special encounter. There are 4 other pieces of Fallout lore that allude to, if not outright state, that aliens exist. A scribe in Fallout 1 can randomly say that they've seen a UFO. The official Fallout 1 survival guide states that the psychic nullifier might possibly be made from alien technology. Fallout 2 has the Xeno program. The She were attempting to do experiments on a specific subject, but the subject was either stolen or disappeared thanks to the Hubologists. The Hubologists are a rather alien-obsessed cult. Finally, there's Fallout 2's Skynet, a thinking computer made from alien technology. While the scribe's line can be dismissed as them hallucinating, the psychic nullifier can be dismissed as merely speculation, the Xeno program can be assumed that the subject was simply a mutant, it's a lot harder to dismiss Skynet's history. We could play with words and say that by alien technology, they mean foreign nations' technology, but that's kind of going out your way to find an excuse. Plus, I'm not sure why they, game developer, or Skynet's in-game developer, would say alien technology rather than simply naming the country of origin. Mothership Zeta is often regarded as the Fallout 3 DLC that made aliens canon to Fallout, but no, it's been hinted at with Fallout 1 and officially cemented in Fallout 2. Now don't get me wrong, comparing an easily missed line to an entire DLC dedicated to the subject are vastly different things. Mothership Zeta literally takes a player on board an alien ship, see alien experiments, witness alien technology, fire alien weaponry, and fight aliens. It's a bit different than just hearing and seeing reports that aliens may have been tied to pre-war government and private agencies. Fallout 4 certainly sought them to touch. We never got a dedicated Alien DLC nor missions. Sure, there's still the downed ships, but some people really don't mind those that much. And there's the Cabot family's line of missions, which sort of takes on this whole ancient alien aspect. Plus, Jack states that Lorenzo always believed there to be an ancient alien city buried in the Mojave Desert. Now, Fallout 76, of course, brings back the Zetans. You can find a few of them at an Enclave facility. In addition, 76, having a lot of cryptids, taking form in its universe, features the Flatwoods monster. But it seems to just be another type of Zetan with psychic powers, one able to dominate the minds of nearby creatures and robots. Do aliens fit the Fallout theme? There's really three camps when it comes to this question. There are those who feel like it does fit the Fallout 1950s sci-fi pop culture influence, regardless of how outlandish others may claim it to be. There are plenty of movies from that era that featured them in a variety of ways and styles. Outlandish science fiction certainly has its home in Fallout. Old World Blues is a rather comical trip that certainly doesn't take itself seriously, and has a hotbed of some of its crazier elements. You can talk to your own brain.
Good lord, have you bathed at all since they pulled me out of you?
Even without the Old World Blues example, some of Fallout's core elements definitely scream science fantasy over science fiction, such as virtual immortality with rampant necrosis. When you take those ideas together, perhaps aliens fit pretty well. Honestly, aliens aren't as wild of a concept as a psychic goo monster using a cult as a front to create an army of orcs. But perhaps it's not believability that so many take issue with. Rather, it's the theme of Fallout. Fallout, at its very core, is about human stupidity, greed, and violence. We are the constant causes of our own problems. Even the sentient non-humans that exist within the series are human in origin. Sometimes they were once humans themselves. When you bring in another sentient species that does not share the same origin, that theme kinda goes flat, especially given that there's a strong implication in Mothership Zeta that the Zetans were the ones that started the Great War. Alien Captive recorded log 17 only has audible alien dialogue, but the subtitles spell out the Zetans forcing a prisoner to give them the launch code 238 ICBMs. While it doesn't specifically say that they ever actually got the codes, given the prisoner was trying to fight their mind control, much less have used the codes, the implications are extremely strong. And if they actually did cause a great war, the thematic foundation of the entire series is suddenly very rocky. Now there is the middle ground camp that may prefer aliens as a mysterious background force than a more prominent part of the lore, where there's only really suggestions of involvement with aliens in the pre-war history. For instance, the Enclave possibly, but not outright confirming that they may have, or rather had, alien technology is such an example. Mothership Zeta is a bit too much for this particular crowd, but reading Skynet's history or learning about the Psychic Nullifier having alien technology is just fine. A lot of crackpot theories to flavor the world without any true confirmation. I think personally I see myself in this last camp. While I do love aliens, in particular the Greys, I'm not a fan of them taking up so much space in Fallout. But I'm also the same guy who actually enjoys the Psychers, which you should check out this video as well, if you're interested in that subject. Regardless, these preferences may no longer matter too much now. Aliens are canon, and Mothership Zeta did happen. And short of Bethesda reckoning the DLC as a long wanderer going on a bad chem trip, that's not really going to change. From this point on, my assumption is that Bethesda is going to use them as a semi-rare encounter, with some side missions linked to them, but not a huge focus like Mothership Zeta was. But I could be wrong. You can't please everyone, and that's true for everything. But such a divisive topic like aliens and Fallout, that's an especially tricky tightrope to walk. So what about you? How do you feel about aliens in the Fallout series?